What's up guys, this is Dan with Hustle Paintball, and today we're going to be taking a close look at the Milsig MK3. MagFed is getting bigger and bigger every day, so it's really important to know exactly what you're getting into when you're making your first purchase. There's plenty of other options in the price range that may be very tempting, but let's be honest, what are you really getting when you're making a purchase from a company that has no reputation for quality control and has a shady business history? With Milsig, you get some of the best customer service in the entire industry, and they also offer personalized help walking through any issues that you may encounter. And quite frankly, MagFed is not an easy game to play, and it's really comforting to know that Milsig has your back every step of the way when you're first starting out. So, without further ado, let's go shoot this thing. Obviously, the first thing that you're going to need to do before you can play some paintball is to put paint inside your mags. There's a couple of key things that you need to know about that, so let's talk about those now. First and foremost, you're going to want to wind your mag down. Milsig actually sells a handy-dandy tool that will make this a lot easier on your fingers. However, I'm just going to do it by hand for now. Make sure that the follower is all the way wound up into the top of the mag like so. Then, grab your paintballs. Set one ball on the very top of the mag collar right here. Milsig actually designed their mags really well, and they've kind of built in a safety mechanism to make sure that you're not using paint that's either too big or too small. So set that first ball on top and then pull the collar down like that. If the ball falls into the mag, it's appropriately sized. If it falls in before you pull the collar down, then it's too small. And if it doesn't fall in when you pull the collar down, then the ball is too big. You're going to need to find some other paint. So do that a few times. Make sure that the paint that you're using is appropriately sized for the magazines. Then once you're pretty sure that most of the paint is of the proper size, go ahead and hold down that collar. Just stick them all in there, just like so. There's one tube. Two tubes. Let's get that last guy in there, just like so. Now that you've got your magazine fully loaded, you're gonna wanna make sure that there's no gaps in there. You can see right here, no gaps anywhere. And go ahead and push your finger right here on top of the top ball, release that follower to put tension on the balls like that so they don't rattle around in your magazine. Then you're ready to go. All right, so I've got all my mags loaded up, and the first thing that you're gonna wanna do is to insert the magazine into the marker firmly. You're not gonna break these things, they're super tough, so just get it up and in there. So reloads are a really important part of MagFed. If you have some time at home when you're just sitting around on the couch doing nothing, go ahead and practice your mag changes because it's going to really help you in the middle of a firefight. Sometimes on really hot days, if your paint has been sitting in your mags for a while, it'll stick together. So it's always a good idea to tap the magazine on your head to either break the paint apart if you're using regular 68 cal, or to align the first strike rounds if you're shooting first strikes. So remember, if you load a mag halfway into the breech, be sure that you don't ram it back in, because what you can do is you can break paint inside the magazine, you can break paint inside the gun, and if you have to do maintenance on the field, if you have to take everything apart, you're just gonna have a bad time. I mean, nobody wants to do that, right? Some of you guys may have noticed by now that we're using dye CG, which is a high-end tournament paint. Most of the guns in this price range would turn it to absolute soup. So even though the MK3 is tough as nails, it's still gentle on paint and performs flawlessly in the harshest of conditions. Since you're watching this review, you're likely in the market for a new MagFed marker, and if this is your first MagFed marker, the MK3 is an awesome choice. But if you're looking for something that has a little bit more to it, check out our review on the Paradigm Pro. You can type Hustle Paintball Paradigm Pro up into the search bar and that'll bring you right to it. It just features an all-metal construction and uses square head mags instead of the round heads that the MK3 uses, which allow you to shoot first strike rounds, which is one of my favorite things about MagFed. So let's talk a little bit more about the MK3's competitors that are actually in its price range. Most of them are just old school blowback designs, kind of like a spider, and they're known for being loud and kicky and generally pretty hard on paint, which can really hinder the performance of the marker because you have to use low grade paint. So those are kind of out of the question. And the MK3, the heat core, is based off of tournament guns such as the Phenom and the Etha and the Axe, as well as the legendary Automag line. So really, any way you cut it, the MK3 just outguns its competitors. Another great thing about the MK3 is the magazines. They're tough and robust, they're very easy to clean and maintain, and once you load all the paint into them, you don't have to flip it or rotate it or anything like that to shoot all the paint out of it, which makes it super convenient because when you're playing MagFed, laying down covering fire can be a huge problem. Consider this. With a stock TPX, you only get 7 rounds before you have to reload or switch mags. With the Zeta Mag, you only get 10 shots before you have to flip it. Tiberius mags only hold 8. You only get 10 rounds in a Spider Mag. With D-Mags, you only get 10. With the Die Dam, the most shots you can get before you have to flip your mag is 10. And this is the MK3 mag. The only thing that even comes close is the TGR2 with an optional 18-round mag, but the TGR2 is a blowback. Compared to the heat core, all you're getting is this antiquated, crappy design. It's just an inferior gun. Honestly, Milsig's guns are just better than the competition's. And so to kind of show you guys how that is, we're going to take this thing apart, lubricate it, show you how to maintain it properly, and talk about some of the key features of these markers. So let's get to it. So before you get started, you're going to want to get your marker, obviously, some basic paintball oil, some Q-tips, 2 3mm Allen keys, as well as 1 2.5mm Allen key, and of course a tech mat. First things first, let's start off by removing your shroud. And I like to replace the screws back into the body. Once you remove them, or once you get the shroud off, just kind of helps you keep track of all of your hardware. So just real quick, like that, and like that. Perfect. I'll leave the barrel on. I'll show you guys why in just a second. Let's take the mag out. Now you're going to need your 2.5mm Allen key. Right here, take the rail off. Set the screw off to the side for a moment. That comes directly off like that. Remove the tank. Replace this screw so that you don't lose it. There we go. And at this point, if you broke some paint earlier in the day, perhaps you just want to take everything apart completely, you can remove the mag well using these screws, as well as this one on the other side. But for now, all we're going to do is remove this rear one on the mag release button. You will need the two Allen keys for this. I like to put one in one side, just like that. And then while I'm holding that, unscrew the other one from this side, because as you will see in just a moment, Milsig has designed a very cool retention pin, very similar to Violent's Axon Mini trigger pin. They make an upgraded trigger pin that is very cool, and this is of the very same vein. It just works brilliantly, and it's very simple to take your gun apart with. Next, I like to remove the bottom cotter pin and the bottom body pin. Just press down like that. This will allow you to pull out that body pin and then drop the grip frame off, just like so. You can set that off to the side for just a moment. Now this is where the barrel comes in handy. If you leave the barrel on, it allows you to press the heat cord down into your tech mat while you're working, because the heat core is actually under tension, under very strong spring tension. So press down, lean in onto the marker, push that pin out, like so, reach in from the other side, grab it, there you go, and if you notice the the gun is actually on spring tension like that. So with the heat core on the tech mat, you will lift your marker straight up like that. Set the marker itself off to the side for a moment so you don't need it any longer. And now you've broken it down to the basic heat core. Before we go any further, I'd like to discuss a couple of things. First and foremost, you're not allowed to disassemble the regulator on your heat core. It's just for a number of reasons. You can break things. Milsig, like I said earlier, is super awesome about having your back when it comes to repairs and maintenance and things like that. Any questions you may have. So if for whatever reason you feel like your regulator needs to be cleaned and lubricated properly, just drop a couple of drops of oil into the ASA. That will prevent any problems from occurring. And if for whatever reason something does happen, you can just send this in to Milsig and they'll get you taken care of right away. In order to kind of make things a little bit easier, I'm going to go through the names of all the parts real quick. This is called the bolt guide right here. This is the main bolt spring. This right here is the main bolt. And this is the heat core itself. This is called the air chamber. This one down in here, the only sealing O-ring in the entire marker. I'm not sure if, let's see, right there, that little red O-ring right by my finger is the only sealing O-ring in the entire marker. So if you're having any sort of problems with leaking when your marker is aired up, go ahead and lubricate this O-ring. It will save you many, many headaches because, like I said, it's the only sealing O-ring in the entire marker. In order to maintain the heat core, all you really need to do is lubricate everything with a light coating of oil. So go ahead and grab your rag. Just wipe everything down real quick. Get all the old lubricant off, as well as any dirt or grime that may have built up. As well as your spring, of course, and the heat core itself. There you are. Next thing you're going to want to do is make sure that you get all the dirt and grime out of the air chamber. Just use a Q-tip for that. Then I like to put a little bit of oil on the end of the Q-tip so that you can lubricate the main air chamber O-ring right there. All good to go. Next thing you're going to want to do is just kind of put a little bit of oil on your hands. Right about that much is pretty good. And just rub your hands together. Give a nice light coating so that you can lubricate everything. Just run your hands all over the bolt as well as the main spring. This prevents corrosion and just kind of preserves the heat core. Don't forget the bolt guide, inside and out. Just take a finger and rub it up in there. There you go. So now that everything is lubricated properly, it's time to put it all back together. First things first, main bolt goes back on, followed by main spring and the bolt guide. Here we go. Once you've wiped your hands down, go ahead and grab your marker body. And again, this is where the barrel comes in handy. You're going to want to make sure that the regulator is pointing towards the top of your marker. Slide everything right in, like so. Let it down on the table, and gently compress the main spring by pressing down on top of the barrel. One quick note to make. One of these bolt pins, or excuse me, one of these body pins is longer than the other. The shorter of the two goes towards the top of the marker. Followed directly by the cotter pin. Like that. Now you're going to want to grab your grip frame. Set that into the marker. Now comes kind of the hard part. Insert the pin like so. Make sure that it seats well into the mag release so that you can see it. Set your screw down in there. Grab your 3mm Allen again. Go ahead and tighten it down, at least until the bottom one starts to spin. Oops. Then set that there. Stop it from spinning. Then tighten it the rest of the way. There we go, it's good and snug. Now you can put the second body pin back in, just like that. Make sure it pokes through properly. Grab the other cotter pin. Stick it in there. And there you have it. Your MK3 has been fully maintained. So now you're ready to put all of the accessories back on and get back out on the field. All right, now that we've cleaned and lubricated the heat core properly, let's put it through an efficiency test and see how it does. Got a chrono, air, paint, let's get cracking. 294, 286, 286, 248, 266, 265, 274, 272, 269, 274. All right, let's get going. 62, 30, 209. There you go, and it vented. That's not too bad. I got through an entire Molly vest with 6 mags plus a little bit extra. So we're gonna get an official ball count for you guys right about here. Let's move back inside and wrap things up. Seriously guys, I cannot stress this enough. The MK3 is just simply the best marker in its price range. I mean, the mags hold more paint and they're easier to clean and maintain. Not to mention, you don't have to flip it around to get your full 20 shots. The MK3 is built tougher and better. It's backed by an awesome company and there's just no reason not to get it. So when you're ready to buy one, head on over to hustlepaintball.com where we sell everything you've seen in this video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, read our blog, and join us on PB Riot where we're always talking about some awesome paintball stuff. Also, if you have any comments, questions, or suggestions about maybe a future video, shoot us an email to videos@hustlepaintball.com. So without further ado, till next time guys, have a good one.